Do you ever feel like your money disappears faster than you can save it? Paycheck comes in and next thing you know, it's all gone. There's nothing else to put towards savings or towards investing. I used to feel the same way until I created a faith-based budget to help me manage my money, to help me track how every single dollar comes into my account, but then also make a plan for every dollar of where it goes outside of my account. Today I want to give you a video of how to do exactly that. So for me, I never super struggled with budgeting, but I struggled being disciplined with tracking my money, with sticking to a budget. And so I've tried a lot of different things. I've tried making a spreadsheet on my own. I've tried different budgeting apps. I've tried things like Every Dollar or Quick and Simplify, trying out different things to see what would work for me. And finally, I decided that what works best for me is a spreadsheet. And it's a tracker. I've got a personalized one that's a little bit more advanced than what I'll show you, but the principle of it is you track what income comes in, and then you give every dollar a spot. You categorize your expenses, and you budget ahead of time for the month ahead. And so, but the most important factor of that I firmly believe in is putting God first in that budget. Putting in that your 10% tithe and your offerings, and even giving above and beyond to local things. And so today I want to get right into that and show you what I saw that fixed my problem for spending or for not being able to save and keep track of my money. And I hope it does the same for you. And I think it's important before we start creating a budget, before we start looking at the numbers, is that we start in prayer, right? Like, this is God's. The Bible talks about how we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. And ultimately, everything in the earth is the Lord's. And so we should just stop and pray and give it to the Lord. And I know, honestly, I don't do that enough. As I've been budgeting for quite some time now, I don't do that enough to just give it to the Lord before starting. But once we've given it to the Lord, we've set our minds and our hearts right, then we should look at our income. And so we should look at our income. We should look at our gross income before any deductions, any taxes are taking out for the year. And so whatever your set salary is per year, if you're a salary worker, or maybe you're an hourly worker, you can kind of make a guesstimate of what you're going to make gross, which that gross income means without deductions, without taxes. Or if you have a spouse, also count their income in. And so just put that number down for the year and then divide it by 12, right? That's your monthly gross income. And for me, I'm a 1099 employee, and so I take my own taxes out. And so I go ahead and put in a percent in. So say about 15.5% for Social Security and Medicare, plus another percentage for income taxes. And so that's an automatic expense for me. You got your income and you got your taxes that you're taking out of, but the first thing that you really want to look at is your tithe. You want to take 10% of your growth income, the first 10%, right? Because God says to give our first fruits, and go ahead and put a category for that, call it tithe. And every month when your money comes in, you give that to your local church, your 10%. And guys, I know sometimes for some of you that maybe seem hard to do. And it's hard, you're like, I just worked this time and I gotta give it away. But guys, God, I swear He multiplies it. We see God use that money that we give Him to do so many different things. And I also think that He blesses us in return. And that's not, we don't give to be blessed, but it is a byproduct of it when we trust in Him. And so you've looked at your income, you take out your taxes and your tithe, then you want to look at your monthly expenses, and starting from needs and then moving on to wants. But most importantly, your needs, right? So think of anything that you need to provide you food, water, shelter. And so that would be rent, maybe a mortgage payment, any type of insurances, auto insurance, health insurance, property insurance. Maybe you need to look at your bills, so electric bill, water bill, maybe car payment, which we'll talk about car payments in another video. Any of those things that you would need, right? Money for groceries, and then kind of moving on to wants, and you've got money to eat out. Another need is gas, right? Money to eat out, subscriptions, play money, all those different things. And so you got your needs and you got your wants, and so start listing those things out. And especially starting with your needs, like, you know, your rent or your mortgage payment is this much a month, and so list that out, right? And then you can move on. And so what I like to do here is I subtract the income that I have minus the sum of all the expenses. So subtract the income that you have minus the sum of all your expenses. And if that number is still positive, then that's what goes to savings. And you could do that the other way around, which I would, if you want to be a more aggressive saver, to make a savings goal. So say you want to save $500. Well, then maybe you need to cut some money out of your wants and those expenses. But you want to look at those savings. And so set a savings goal and make it happen by adjusting your spending. Create some realistic spending categories and create some realistic spending limits on yourself to say, hey, this month I'm going to spend $300 eating out at restaurants. I mean, don't say I'm going to spend $50 a month, right? Because that's not going to get you anywhere. But when you set realistic goals and you give your money a place to be, then you're able to save even more. You're able to live even more generously. There's so much value and power in having a budget where you give your income and your expenses a spot to be. What do? You stick to it. You stick to it. You make sure throughout the month you track your expenses to make sure that you're staying under the budget that you've given yourself. And you make sure that your income's coming in, and you track it, and then you do it again month by month. And you stay consistent. It's like anything else. The only way you're going to get good at it is by doing it and doing it and doing it and letting it become a habit. And then obviously something that you need to look at is maybe you need to adjust. Maybe you get 1 month into it and you're like, man, I did not give myself enough money to put gas in my car to get to work and back. Oh man, I didn't give myself enough money to have fun, and that's miserable. I don't want to be miserable. So then you need to adjust and maybe increase one category and lower another category. Or maybe you're like, man, I gave myself way too much to eat out. It was nice to eat that much fast food, but I could be saving more money towards retirement or saving more money for my next car instead. Or maybe I should be giving more money, right? Maybe I should be living more generously to other people. Maybe I should bless somebody next month. And so be ready to adjust your budget, but then keep yourself accountable to it. Make a plan to where maybe it's every night, maybe it's once a week, maybe it's once every other week, where you're going to sit down, you're going to look at your checking account, look at your expenditures and track them and see how you're doing with the budget. But make a plan to stay consistent, to stay accountable with yourself, and then adjust where needed. Ultimately, creating a budget for yourself with a focus primarily on putting God first is going to benefit you in so many ways. It's going to help you know what to do with your money. It's going to help you know where your money is, and it's going to help you to leverage the money that you have coming in greater to where you can control where it's going out. And so whatever that is, take action on it. Create your own budget. Write it down on pencil and paper, create a spreadsheet, try out an app. In the description below is a free faith-based budgeting tool that you can use. But whatever it looks like, take action and create a budget for yourself to tell your money where it needs to go. As we close out the 2024 year, what are your financial goals for 2025? I want to encourage you to write those down and put them in the comments, but write them down. And then when you write them down, use that as you make your budget to decide where you want to go. There's a saying that if you aim at nothing, you're going to hit it every time. And so aim big and then make a plan to hit it with a faith-based budget. As you make this budget and you start to look at your savings goals and your savings categories, and you want to figure out a way to make as much money possible in their savings or where to put your money that needs to go to savings, I've got a video on the top 3 savings accounts that you can look at. And in this video, I go into 3 savings accounts that have competitive rates, great features, and they're user-friendly. And so I'd encourage you to check out that video and then subscribe to my channel to be able to continue getting updates as well.